What's up, guys? David DeSell here, your host of the Business with the Boys podcast. And we have another great episode brought to you by Aaron Newell. Aaron is the gift that keeps on giving. If you haven't yet checked out his episode with us, please do. He has introduced us to so many folks, and we are so grateful for that. Actually, at the time of me recording this intro, we have an email of another introduction from Aaron. So, Aaron, if you're tuning in and listening to this, thank you so much for your continued support. Landon and I had an opportunity to spend some time with Matt Warner, and this episode was fiery, to say the least. I say that because Matt is extremely passionate about what he does, and he has so many good nuggets, and we just barely broached the surface with him. So we'll definitely be having him back for a second episode at some point soon. But Matt Warner, he is a serial entrepreneur. He's a culture-driven leader, and he talks a lot about his Monday morning meetings that helps drive the culture within his companies. And he's the founder of Empire Netting and Fence, which is a national leader in sports netting and fencing solutions with over 160 total team members, which is just massive. So with that said, let's dive into the episode and learn from Matt.
Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believed me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got him picking
Matt, you're new to me. You're new to Landon. You're here because of Aaron Newell. So thank you, Aaron. And Matt, welcome to the show.
I love being here. Thanks for having me, guys.
Well, let's dive in. So we have a number of things that we want to chat through today, but let's first start by setting the stage for the folks listening. Give us a sense of what you do today, and what your focus is in the business that you run.
I'm a self-proclaimed serial entrepreneur Bronco enthusiast.
Oh, you had me up until
I'm a passionate Ford guy. Which that is part of the reason why I've had a little bit of a success in the entrepreneurial world, is because I've started studying guys like the CEO Alan Maloley of Ford, and I watched what he did early in his career, and I thought, you know what, that's impressive, because Ford, I was an anti-Ford guy for years because they're such a corporate grindstone. And when he went in there, he flipped it, and he said, we're not going to take the bailout, we're going to do this right, we're going to cut from the top, we're going to take care of our people, we're not going to do layoffs. And when he pushed on that gas and rewarded people for actually giving him bad news, I thought, you know what, that's the kind of mindset a guy ought to have at all levels of business, not just at that top corporate level. And that's when I discovered being a servant leader, and I just fell in love with the idea of serving others. And I really truly do believe that, I don't want to be a Bible thumper on the show, but I do believe that you reap what you sow. And I've been a testimony of it. We have been blessed by people just showing up. It's funny. I should probably shut up about right now, because I get going. I'm telling you, I can't stop.
Listen. You make our job easier if we don't have to say shit.
We're not going to complain, Matt.
So, well, just give me one of these hand signals if you need me to take a breath, because I'm so damn passionate about what we do, and I love it, and I love. It's funny. It's where I was going to go with this. During COVID, everybody was saying, "Oh, there's two things that you just can't get anymore. You can't get people, and you can't get materials." And I just laughed. I was like, "Really, really? You can't get people? People are being laid off left and right. They're everywhere. They're abundant. You should be able to get people from anywhere." The reason why you can't get people is because you're not good people. You have to take care of your people in order to get people. People want to be a part of a winning team. Oh, by the way, I have removed the word family from everything in our empire. Now, listen, let me back up. I'm gonna have a hard time because I keep referring to things as empire, which this is the empire. E, I have the crown over top, the Trinity, the 3 points is the Trinity, but that E over top, the crown over the E keeps me humble. Makes sure that I know that it's not mine. I'm here to do a job, and I work for the company also, but ultimately it's all his. And then I've got this brand here. I got the USS brand, which is a new company we started. I've got Hot Coat, which is a new state-of-the-art powder coating facility. We've got a fab shop, which is ESC. We've got a padding division that we make padding for all over. We just did the Dallas Cowboys practice facility in California. I mean, we've got stuff. We have a software. We have a brand new software that we're building. We're rebuilding one because it got taken over by a hostile takeover by a billion-dollar company. Took my code and wouldn't give it to me, and then said, "We're just gonna shut you off if you don't give me $500,000." And I kind of did one of these,
Yep.
and rebuilt it all. And said, "Screw you! I'm not giving it to you. I wanted to rebuild it anyhow." And so, I mean, I've gone through a lot. But along the way, the one thing that we've always been able to do is maintain our culture. And everybody throws that word around. And I've been trying to come up with a new word for it. I can't. Because culture is cultivating and you're constantly working. But I'm sick and tired of people saying, yeah, I have good culture because I have snacks in the break room and unlimited PTO. Well, that's bullshit. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry.
You're allowed to swear.
Yep.
Okay. I will say Jesus, and I'll say a few things. I get well wound up,
Hey,
but
we
here's
can break the ice for you. Fuckity fuck fuck fuck. All right,
Yep.
you're good.
There you
okay.
go.
Okay, you guys are my kind of guys. It's not just a noun; it's an adjective, it's a verb. It's used for
It
everything.
fits.
Uh,
Yep.
one thing I get written up a lot though is I love to say from the Ricky Bobby show, we wake up every morning, we piss excellence,
Yep.
which is awesome. So I say that in our Monday morning meetings, and by the way, that's our secret sauce of culture, is the Monday morning meetings because we do a thing called building trust. Stephen Covey has really inspired me to pour in with trust into our people, and as long as we all trust each other, you can get to work faster. You can be more profitable. You don't have to have as detailed contracts. You can actually get done as long as there's a true level of trust. Now, let me back up and get to the people part of things. So I have like 7 squirrels going on here right now for you. So try to catch them. The people part of thing is really what we're into. I'm a passionate servant leader. I tell this story about Boots when I filed bankruptcy with my first business. I started a business at 18 years old. And I did a really good job of just crashing that thing right into the ground by the time I was 29. And ultimately filed bankruptcy and humiliated the Warner name. I'm adopted, but I am proud of the Warner name. And in our community, we're very well known in the Waverly community, and everybody knew that I failed. I embarrassed my family. I embarrassed my wife. I embarrassed my grandparents. I embarrassed everybody. Matter of fact, I'm gonna be a little bit open with you guys. I grew up in a broken home. My mom was in and out of prison, and a lot of things happened. But the most painful thing that I've ever went through was that bankruptcy. More than the divorces and more than the drug abuse, more than anything. That was the most painful thing because I did it to myself and I didn't even realize I did it to myself. I kept making excuses like, well, the guy that owed me $286,000 filed bankruptcy. I made an excuse of, well, I had an entire $1 million contract that Hooker Brothers out of Grand Island pulled the contract on me. I mean, and then I read that book, Extreme Ownership, and started listening to podcasts and read the book Good to Great, and I read the book Simon Sinek's Why, all those books, and all of a sudden I was like, which by the way, I struggle with reading anyhow. I can't read very well. I never even really started reading until about 8 years ago. But until I owned up on all of that, until I realized that that bankruptcy was 100% my fault. And I got down and I said, doggone it, Lord, if you'll give me another chance, I'll honor you in everything I do. So he put me in the workforce, right? Because what does he do when you need to get stronger? He gives you some heavy lifting. So I left my entrepreneurial job that I was doing pretty good. I had 7 semis. I was making pretty good money. Brand new truck. Filed bankruptcy. Lost the truck. Lost everything. Still, the courts will let you keep one vehicle. So we kept our Oldsmobile minivan.
A good choice.
Yeah, it's the biggest one.
Woo! Talk about Bermuda shorts and black socks, baby.
I didn't know Oldsmobile made a minivan, so that's impressive.
Oh, it was one of the early ones that had 2 doors, baby.
Oh yeah, all the way through.
Ballin'.
Strong. Sexy dude getting out of that thing. So anyhow, I went into the workforce. I'm getting to the boot story. I apologize. I know it takes me forever to get there, but you got to have a little bit of context to understand why it's so passionate to me. So I go into the workforce and I call up Craig Gaina, which, by the way, I owe Craig Gaina so much in life because I called him up at 11 o'clock. I was leaving the farm. I was also a farm kid. My dad and I weren't getting along. Life sucked. I needed a fresh start. I called up Craig Gaina at like 10:30, 11 o'clock on a Sunday night, and he said, be at work at 5 o'clock tomorrow, and you have a job. No resume, no nothing. Just he knew me from FFA through just farm kid stuff, right? And he's from Norris, Waverly, rival, blah, blah, blah. So I go out and I buy myself. That week, I quickly realized that my cowboy boots weren't going to work on walking on construction sites. So I quickly went and got me some lace-up Caterpillar boots from Walmart. I think I paid maybe $27.99 for them, right? The real good ones at Walmart.
Not the Red Wings. Yeah.
No. I got the good ones. So after about 2 weeks of walking around on these construction sites, I was a dirt mover. I ran a track loader and I did their commercial work by digging big basements and stuff. But get this, my feet were so freaking sore, man. They were blistered. I didn't even tell my wife because I was too embarrassed. One, I was humiliated because I knew I let my wife down, my kids down, and it was just horrible. It was a horrible time, and I'll never forget. I'm sitting on the couch, and my feet are literally like my socks have blood in them from the blisters. And I said, man, if I ever make it again, I am putting boots on all my people. And to this day, we buy everybody a pair of boots. Once a year, they get a fresh pair of boots. We keep good boots on them. I also tell my people this story a little bit, a quick version of it at my Monday morning meetings. And then I also added
I don't picture you, Matt, having any quick stories. I think you're full of shit.
Oh, sorry. Where did that come from? You know what? Hey, I'm on a campsite drinking Bailey's and coffee. I could go away.
Life's good. Life is good.
We need you for a little bit longer. We want you for a little bit.
All right,
longer.
let me get to my point. Here's the story I tell. Listen, there's this story from 2,000 years ago about this dude that was having a dinner with his closest friends. And the guy on the right and the guy on the left were going to betray him. And he knew they were going to betray him, but he washed their doggone feet anyhow. So I'm going to give you a pair of boots, even though you might quit in 6 months. You could take them with you. But I want you to know that my servant leadership is to take good care of your feet before anything else. So here's a pair of boots. We give them a boot voucher. We have a Boot Barn and we have Red Wings, so they can go to either one of those and they can get a free pair of boots. But I guess that's a long story short. I put a lot in there about who I am and where I'm going and where I get my beliefs and how I envision this. But get this. We started in 2009, on August 24th at 2:37 p.m. 2014, I got fired from my full-time job. So I had my side hustle, which was Empire. 2009, I had a full-time job working construction in town, and I had employees working for me, and I was doing my side hustle because I was making 100 grand, right? I was making damn good money. Why would I give that up? I can still do both. But I got fired because I told one, probably the third wealthiest guy in Lincoln to go fuck himself because he was being mean to my people. He was being mean to the people that were working on my job site. I wasn't going to tolerate it. I'll never forget the day. I said, "You can't talk to these people this way." And he goes, "This is my building." I said, "Not right now, bro. This is my sandbox. I have a contract with you. And by the way, you don't have any PPE on. Get the fuck off my job site. You can go fuck yourself." And my boss called me up. He's like, "Hey, did you just tell our biggest client?" Yeah. I go, "Dude, just throw me under the bus. Just let it go. Throw me under the bus. It's no big deal." He's like, "No, come to my office." All right, fine. Sure enough, I never forget, man. I looked at my phone. I went, "Well, here we go. I'm going all in on Empire today." So 2015, we hit $1 million in revenue, and we had about five or six of us. And today we have 153, and we have six businesses and three real estate divisions, and we are just cooking with gas, man. I love it. So there it is. Show's over.
Best thing
I
that ever
love
happened to
that.
you.
I I am a little disappointed, and Landon can confirm this is one of the only episodes that I've done where I'm not wearing my hat from the show The Chosen. And I'm like, damn, this would have been a good one to wear that hat. One of our previous guests, a good friend of ours, Adam Swerdlow, he's now in consulting, but he was the chief operating officer over at The Chosen. So when I got
You're kidding
baptized
me.
a couple of years back, he sent me a bunch of
He's a stud.
swag and, decked me out in all the Chosen gear, brought me to the Chosen conference in Orlando. And of course, I didn't wear that hat today.
Isn't it amazing? I don't want to sidebar us a little bit here, but isn't it amazing when you get to see or feel the human side that they gave to JC? By the way, I call him JC. I got it off Meet the Fockers. Ah, you're a friend with JC's? Yeah, yeah.
One of the
Uh,
funniest movies out
so
there.
so I do this a lot. And I use parables and the Bible a lot in my coaching and teaching and running our business. Matter of fact, I just went to the cloisters for a silent retreat, which was an experience in itself. But the priest there was talking about a waterfall and talking about how that waterfall, if you ever stand underneath it, it's just pounding on you and it's just continuous and it doesn't stop and it's not going to stop and it just keeps going. Well, that's God's grace. That's God's grace pouring on us, constantly forgiving us, constantly loving us, constantly taking care of us. And man, I gotta tell you, I was a really really naughty kid, and in my 20s, I was mad at the world. I had a chip on my shoulder. I got in a lot of fights, and I was not a good human. I did a horrible job of taking care of my truck drivers, which is why I ultimately failed because I didn't understand servant leadership. And by the way, I guarantee you, he was like, "You're not ready. So now you need to
Gonna
go."
teach you a little lesson first.
Yeah, yeah. So JC and I've given him the Lieutenant Dan thing where I'm yelling at him, "Are you freaking kidding me? You're freaking kidding, you're doing this to me. I'm a good guy, So that's who I am. I'm a passionate, get it done. Not the smartest guy in the room, but I guarantee you I could probably outwork most.
So speaking
That's
of that, one thing I
yeah.
want to bring up that I have had the luxury of knowing from our intro call, and you alluded to this a moment ago, as it relates to just recently starting, reading books and things like that, and throughout your life, you've struggled with dyslexia. So you weren't
Yeah.
kidding when you said you couldn't read. What was that like? Like how did you work through that? How do you take that ailment and turn it into a gift? Like, because there's other people that struggle with that as well.
First and foremost, I I hated it at school because I was in all the classes with the dumb kids. And I knew I wasn't dumb. I just couldn't get through the reading like everybody else could. And by the way, um m more than getting all my words jumbled up and everything else, the comprehension part is the where you struggle because you can't put all the words together, so none of it makes sense, right? And then you lose track of where you're at, and you know, I guarantee you, I would probably be on some kind of drug today if I was a child, which I'm glad I'm not, because I kind of like who I am, and I don't want to alter who I am. Um, but uh, the key was is that I didn't want to put the work in when I was younger. One, I was too impatient, right? I'm a
Can't
hey,
tell.
let's.
You're like
I
me.
get I like to get shit done, man.
Yep.
And we have a rule in our company. It's called 70% go. Anything, anything. If you think you're at 70%, go. Well, finally, I had to apply that to reading, and I had to say, listen, I have to practice. I have to slow down. I have to make sure I get the words right. I have to highlight. There's tricks that you can do. You can underline certain words, and then when you go back, you can see the underline. So all these little tricks I learned on my own. But once I learned them, now I can't get enough, dude. I'm telling you, I have 3 books right now. I'm reading all 3 of them at the same time. And if you ask anybody up until 10 years ago, they would have said Matt Warner doesn't read books. There's no way. One, you can't get him to sit down and read it long enough. Two, he's not patient. He won't do it. But now I just can't get enough. And here's another trick I learned too. If I want to get through a book quickly, oh my gosh! So I wanted to reread Stephen Covey's book, Trust and Inspire. So I was like, man, I got to get through this thing faster. So what I did is I did it on audio, but I also read the words. And so it was like my first grade teacher reading to me, which was when I comprehended the most is when I remember sitting in the little pit thing and the teacher would read us stuff and I'm like, I got it locked in. But when I went to go read it, nothing was there.
That's
Nothing.
interesting.
So now I listen to audio, which I do listen to a lot of just random audio books too. I don't listen to much anymore other than podcasts, YouTube videos. I'm a huge Stephen Covey, John Maxwell, Patrick Lencioni, all those Jim Rohn, all those leaders are who I listen to every single day. Every single day, I listen to 45 minutes to an hour every single day, no matter what, every morning. Or a Bible lesson. I do like Bible lessons. I love the Bible stories. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated by David. All these things. So I got a couple podcasts I listen to on that too. But now I can't learn enough, guys. I was a D- student in high school. Dropped out of college mostly because I couldn't get through any of the reading, and I knew I was going to fail and it was going to be a waste of money. So I just dropped out, walked out. Also, the professors were anti-America, and I'm very full-blooded American. I got my 9 millimeter sitting right there. I'm
Yeah, I was gonna
a
say,
gun.
Landon, grab your book. This is a book you could read, Matt. It says reasons to vote for Democrats, and all the pages are blank.
So
Uh,
A
I
very good
am.
friend and client of mine got me that, and I was like, what are you giving me?" And he's
I
like,
love
"Open
it.
it up." And I was
I,
like, "All right, that's funny."
I love it. Hey, but you want to know something? I'll tell you something. A couple months ago, I had somebody ask me. They said, "Matt, you have an outstanding team. Tell me the one person, not necessarily that changed our trajectory or whatever, but the one person that you hired that helped you get to where you're at today. Just give me one." And I said, Max. And Max is him and I are not on the same page with religion. We are not on the same page with voting. We are not on the same page. But you know what? We are on the same page with taking care of people. But
and
I
probably
love
respect
talking.
for one another. You're able to
Yes.
listen.
Yes, and it taught me too that Max has a different opinion on things and a different viewpoint. And I'm going to tell you what, I feel sorry for the people that won't surround themselves with people that think differently than them. That's sad. You
It's
shouldn't surround
very
yourself.
sad. And the
You should.
reality is that we have so much more in common than we do, even if they are on opposite ends of a political spectrum or a belief or religious spectrum, we're still humans at the end of the day. It goes back to your 70% go. I'll guarantee at least 70% of what
It's good. Yep.
Yep.
Max, every Friday at about 2:30, we play chess and drink a beer together, and we just talk about the week. And I'm telling you what, that's a special time for me because I can just unload on him. Like I can talk to him about anything in the company at all, whether I'm aggravated or whatever. So here's a thing that entrepreneurs listen up. Here's a nugget. Be careful what you tell the masses about your vision, because everything you say, if you're doing a really good job with culture and you're doing a really good job of painting the vision, everything you say, they're going to believe you're doing it. And you might just be spitballing of, hey, I wonder if we could. Right now, I'm getting ready to buy another company. Matter of fact, I think I've got the deal done. We're going to meet on next Friday, and I've had to be really careful who I told about this because uh, they might have a different perception of what we're doing with this, and I didn't realize that early on. I thought I could just visit all my ideas with anybody. That's very dangerous. But with Max, and Jamie and Scott, I can tell those guys anything and I can spitball with them and I can let my creative juices just flow with them. But you have to be very, very careful on what you're telling your people. You almost need to be a little bit, especially as you grow and you have your lieutenants grow and you have more and more lieutenants and they want to be a part of it. So they hear you say something, they think it's gospel. Next thing you know, you got rumors going through your company. You're like, whoa, who said that?
So
Well, you
that
did.
so that actually, in a similar vein, in working with entrepreneurs, and you may not be similar now based on what you just shared, but probably were similar to this, where when they share an idea, not necessarily with the masses, but like with their team, right? Their teammates, um, oftentimes those teammates take those ideas and they want to execute for that owner, for that visionary. But the owner isn't at the point where they want something implemented yet because they just happened to read a really good book and got some ideas and they're just kind of letting that flush out, let that idea flush out through their mouth.
Yes.
And then what will happen is the team will go and execute thinking that they're doing the right thing. And then that visionary will then read another book and they'll share an idea that may be contradictory to the idea that they just shared previously. And what happens is then that team is like, well, what the heck? We've been pushing forward on this.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
now that's all for not like, how do you manage the ideation process
Yeah,
with
because
the companies that you run?
a lot of us are squirrel kids in entrepreneur seats, right? Like I'm the same way. There's a reason I'm fully loaded
Obviously,
on Adderall every day, right? It's like how do
like,
you get people to execute, and you got to be somebody who's strong and put your ego aside to say this is not my strong suit. And I
yeah,
know I'm very self-aware of what I am. And so when I'm looking for team people, how do you bring in people that are a complementary style?
yeah, and well, and then here's one more. So I have the right people. What I couldn't do was I couldn't get them all on the same page as we grew, right? Because now I've got 3 years ago I put together an officer team. Because another nugget for you entrepreneurs out there, you don't want to build your business. You have to recognize that you can't be where your business is at now. You have to be where your business is going. And I kept living in this $8 million world, and we were four times past that 3 years ago. And I had a good friend of mine. He came to me and he said, Matt, you stop it. So I had the right people. I was acting like we're still this little company. I wasn't empowering them, and then I couldn't get them organized. So I did two things. I implemented my officer team and gave them power. And I stepped out and I moved out of headquarters. So I removed myself completely. Um, they say in the wolf pack, right? The young wolves are up front the family and the wolf pack is in the middle, and then there's one lone wolf back there on the hill that's watching over. I went and became that wolf pack back there. I promoted Jamie to president. Gave him 4 vice presidents. I empowered Sarah and Melanie to take care of the money and the people. And I said, "Go, you guys are the team. I'm moving out." So I went out to our North Campus, a building all by myself, and I put myself an office out there, and everybody's like, "Where's Matt?" Bingo. That's what I wanted. The last thing I did after I empowered them is I did this on January, and we're cooking with gas now better than we ever. I implemented EOS,
Mm.
100% EOS all the way through.
We're
And
big
I'm talking
EOS.
not just a little bit, guys. I'm talking we have our level 10 meeting with all my managers and the marketing and the equipment and blah blah blah. Then there's EOS meetings for the construction side for day-to-day construction. Then there's EOS for the padding shop. There's EOS for the even the marketing division itself has an EOS meeting. Like we went all in, which that's kind of who I am, right? I'm either all gas or get the hell out. That's how I roll.
And for the
But
for
those two things, I'm telling you, that is putting us on a trajectory right now. We're going to double in 2.5 years. We'll be at
That's awesome.
300 people in 2.5 years.
So, for those tuning in, we've talked about EOS before, but if you're just tuning in for the first time, check out the book Traction by Gino Wickman. That's what we're referring to. I do want to learn a little bit more, Matt, and when you're focused on building a good culture, a lot of the books and podcasts that I listen to, talks about, spending, more time and face time with the people on the team, and rolling out things like EOS, empowering others, so on and so forth. I've never heard a book on culture and maybe I just haven't come across them, that says, leave the building and go work by yourself. Walk me through that shift and why you believe that that's had the positive impact that it has had, because it seems counterintuitive on the surface, but I know there's some more depth there.
Right, and you're right. You're not going to find it in a book. I learned this from 2 of my mentors that were very. One of them, he's a second generationer, and he learned it from his dad in the 50s. This is purely a friend that showed up, and whoa, what? That's a weird picture.
You
I
keep
mean,
rolling.
it's
He's
cute.
here. Yeah.
It, uh, but but when so get this, and Landon, I don't know if you're. I have a big voice. I have a big presence, and my team also knows that I started this business in my kitchen, working 2 jobs, grinding. I had a lot of 70, 80-hour weeks. I still work 60 to 65 hours a week every week, but I work on my own time now, and because I want to work. By the way, my hobby is my work. I had a lady the other day tell me, "Well, that's sad. You
No, it's
you
great.
should have a hobby." I said, "Are you freaking kidding me?" I go, "You have to go on vacation to get from work. I go on vacation to see a different atmosphere, but I can't wait to get back home to see all of our people."
Same.
But I'm so aggressive and so big in our company that my leadership team, nobody would go to them. And my door was so open because we had such great culture. The only way I could do it was to remove myself and quit being the crutch. I was the crutch. I was in the way. Landon,
I
we
think many entrepreneurs are in the way. I mean, I experience it
absolutely.
all the time, right? It's one of the things I try and coach guys through on, my primary practice is working with business owners, and I always say to them, hey, the less valuable you are to your company, the more valuable your company is.
Have you read the book Lazy CEO?
I've heard of
No.
Lazy CEO. I have not.
I think that's what it's called. Don't quote me on it. I think it's called either Lazy CEO or how to be a lazy CEO or something like that. I gave out 10 of those to our leaders, 10 of our top leaders. And then I told them to give it to who they think is a leader. So my goal is to find the top 40 or 50 people and have them read that. But it's all about making sure
Is
you're
it
delegating.
is it great CEOs are lazy?
There it is. Yep. There,
Yep.
sorry. See?
Jim Schlexer. Yeah.
Yep.
Pick that
Yeah.
I'm
The
up.
words are
lazy. I
there.
don't want to remember the title.
The words are there. This is part of my weakness is I can't it's so weird too because I can tell a joke that I can remember from 20 years ago. But you give me a name of a book and I will mix everything up. I'll have most of it right, but I'll have it all mixed up every single time.
Hey,
And
we
my
we
friends
got to
all
where
laugh.
we needed to go.
Yeah, yeah, right. Well, and you know what? By the way, I have this little Chat GPT thing. I am unstoppable now. Watch out! I got that
It's
Gronk
so
4.
helpful. And on the in the same thought process around, lazy CEO, with utilizing AI and systems and processes, like we're more inclined to figure out faster and easier ways to get stuff done, because we don't want to spend all the time that we're told or taught needs to be spent to do things, to be successful, and we can figure out more creative ways to come to an even better solution at the end of the
Right.
day. I
Yeah.
I do have a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you bifurcate, or I guess six businesses, so I'm going to make up a word, sexticate, if that's the right word. Do you separate your uh that sounded funny, sexticate. Do
I
you
love it.
do you separate your team members per business, or is there any overlap, like you have overlap across those businesses?
Great question, David. So I love our structure now. It took me a while to figure it out. But so I do use the word family when I talk about the businesses. But I was earlier, I was saying I removed the word family from everything. And that's mostly just because most of us really don't like all of our family. And by the way, let's be honest, you lie to your family all the time. You tell them bullshit that because you don't want to deal with their crap, especially your siblings, right? Uh, you're pissed off because they were late and they didn't bring anything to the Christmas dinner, but you'll be like, "Oh, it's nice to see you," instead of walking up and say, "Hey, what the hell, dude? You're 15 minutes late. You didn't even bring a casserole? Are you freaking kidding me? You can't do that because you're family.
Oh,
You
I
have to be
do that,
nice
and it
to each
doesn't it
other."
doesn't it doesn't go over well.
No, no, and you just don't want to deal with their bullshit. Well, that's not what you need in a business. You need a team that's rowing the boat in perfect cadence with somebody hollering out one, two, one, two, one. That's what you need, not a family. Now, I love my family, do anything for them, but we're not a family at work. Uh, so what I do is I have a family of businesses, right? And then I have what we call shared services. Shared Services is actually MJWK Enterprises, which was actually the first business I owned in this last 16 years. And why it's MJWK Enterprises? Michael Jordan weak knees. It means nothing. I wanted to hide. I didn't want to have a name that anybody would recognize in case I failed in the first couple years. So I called it MJWK Enterprises. Empire was a DBA. How about that? That was my plan B was, well, I'll just go away and shut it down and pretend like it never happened, right? Bullshit. Can't do that. That's why it took me so long to get to where we were going. So then so now I made that its own company. That's shared services. So I am under shared services. Max is under shared services. My officer team is, but they also work within a company somewhere, different companies, and then their managers in that company. And matter of fact, Max is a vice president of the entire company, but he's actually second in charge at one of the companies. So, which was by design because I wanted to make sure that who I put in charge of that company, was holding that iron, and Max was stoking his fire. Be very careful, entrepreneurs, when you're out there and you start doing multiple businesses. It's scary because you'll think that you have to hold all the irons, and that's just the opposite. Don't hold any irons, none, but go get the wood and stoke the damn fire, because you want them doing all the branding. You want them working the cattle. You want them out there making the mark. Branding, mark, see what I did there? Put
I
all
like
that.
That's good.
That's what we have to do. Once I figured that out, I'm telling you what, right now, I think I don't want to be too arrogant, but I think I could run 30 or 40 companies right now. I really do, because I have a system, and we have EOS implemented, and everything reports, and we have an accounting system. I have this amazing Friday report. I guarantee you, everybody listening to this right now should hear my Friday report. They should all be doing this Friday report and a Saturday morning deep dive. I'm telling you, it's foolproof. I've taken guys that don't even know how to read their balance sheet and to get them to understand where they're at financially. By the way, you have to know where your money's at all times. You have to know.
Is that something like is it a document, Matt, or how do you?
If I
What is
told
it?
you, I'd have to kill you.
Well, then I shouldn't ask for us to put it in the show notes.
No, you know what? I would love, Landon. I'd love to have a
Because
one-on-one
I
with
just
you.
I think that you and I'll catch up, and that's something I think that could actually be very valuable
Part,
to our
part,
listeners.
part of it is Landon. I'm not that smart of a guy. So for me, I like to break things down and use the KISS method. And
Yep.
this is the KISS method to the extreme. You're going to chuckle. But I'm telling you, what it does is it forces me every single Friday to get a report. Now, every new business we buy, we just bought Hot Coat last year, and we took them over in January. One of their problems is they had a hard time keeping up with all their billables and everything else. As soon as we implemented our system, instantly everything got better. Like literally within 30 days, we had all their bills caught up. We had all the billing done right. We had the reports done. And I had the girl doing the books, beep, bop, boop in the books, actually giving me a Friday report that she understood what the heck she was doing. Most of the time, you, Landon, the business owner, understands what you're doing, but you don't have to know everything. But the person doing the books has to understand what they're doing. They have to understand that, oh crap, we need to collect $1 million next week to pay bills. That's their job, by the way. And if I take that burden, now I'm holding that iron. Stop it.
And you'll be there to be the one that has to bail them out next time, right?
And every time. I just don't do that anymore, because we have these systems in place. And I hope it sure doesn't sound like I'm bragging. I
No,
want to
this is
say,
good.
I want to be very, very clear. Only reason why I've gotten good at this is because I have screwed up so much shit and damn near failed and panicked so many times, even in this last 16 years since 2009, that I just implement a system to make sure it doesn't happen again. Fail. I'm gonna give you a quote. Fail and fail fast. But here's the most important part. As long as you learn. Fail and fail fast. I'm sick and tired of listening to all these podcasters out there that say, yep, you got to fail. You got to fail fast. No, you fail fast as long as you learn. That's the most important part of that quote. It's kind of like, what is there?
The failure is the tuition to be better.
There you go. Ooh.
You
That's
can use
all it
that.
is. It's a tuition payment.
Yep.
And your bankruptcy,
Well
that's
said.
you thought you were saving money on college. Well, guess what? You didn't, because you had to file bankruptcy, and that was your tuition payment.
Yep.
That was huge tuition, by the way. Not only on my financial burden, but my emotional state. Holy crap. You want to talk about beating a guy down. Woo. You feel about this dang tall.
Matt, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What does this look like long term for you? What's your ultimate end goal?
Is it 30,
So,
40 businesses? Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, well, first, that's up to the good Lord. If he wants to present more opportunities for me, I'm just a worker bee. But right now, so I'm taking, I called it retirement for a while, but I'm gonna change that. In the last couple of weeks, I've been calling it a sabbatical. So on 10/11/27, October 11th of 27. It's a Monday. And I'm going to tell you, guys, I wish we had another hour to talk about my Monday morning meeting because I think it changes lives. But we obviously we don't. But I'm going to take a year off and I'm going to drive around the country and I'm going to do Monday morning meetings and I'm going to teach my Friday reports to anybody that wants to listen for no charge. For no charge. And then
That's awesome.
I want to write a book about my experience and how I put the proof in the pudding because I think that um, if you really think you're doing a good job, take a year off and see what happens. And that's what I want to do. I want to write the story when I get done to say, listen, I took a year off and we failed miserably. We lost millions of dollars. Or holy cow, I took a year off and they grew exponentially. They outdid me. So that's right where I'm at right now. My team has a 10-year big wild hairy audacious goal or whatever EOS calls it. And it's about 2.5 times what we're at right now, which is a big number. Um, and if the good Lord wants us to get there, we will. But I also want to give back. I want to be a true servant leader. I'm in love with this idea of trust and inspire that Stephen Covey. I talked to Stephen this week. Him and I have become friends. David, his right hand man, him and I talk about once a month, and I might go around and do a little bit of the on his behalf and talk a little bit about his books and what he's doing. But that's somewhere where I'm going. But I'll tell you this, guys. And by the way, October is there's a reason October, and here's another nugget for the entrepreneurs. Don't work on your taxes in December. Start working on your taxes in January and have them all figured out by October 1st. Like you need to start figuring it out throughout the entire year. In October
Matt,
1st,
you're gonna put me out of a job. Please be quiet.
Or give you an orgasm because you're so
Yeah.
excited that he said
Yes.
that.
Oh,
well,
biggest
hey,
thing I talk to my entrepreneurs about is saving money in taxes by doing tax planning. And they're like, "Oh, I got a CPA." I'm like, "Yeah, when was the last time your CPA had these conversations with you?" Your
yo,
CPA is completely reactive and just
yeah,
wants to file your taxes and send you a bill. What we're
hey,
doing is active tax planning and tax management.
have one of the top firms in the nation that for my CPA, Lutz, right there out of Omaha. And I've been with them since 2009. And JP and I are good friends and we talk monthly. But he knows I'm planning the entire year. I mean, everybody should be figuring out what is in this one big, beautiful bill so they can maximize this bonus depreciation. And now they're doing it in real estate. Everybody should be studying this stuff, and that's what I spend a lot of my time doing, guys. But that's why I picked October 10, 11, 27 because I'm going to have my taxes all planned for everybody, and then what I'm going to do is an inverted. Right now, the company gives me 4 weeks off, which I mean, I I take off probably more than that, but 4 weeks off. So I'm going to do an invert. I'm only going to work for 4 weeks next year or that year from 20 October of 27 to October of 28. I'm going to give them 4 weeks and it's going to be basically tax planning. And it's going to be while I'm traveling and doing this stuff, I'm going to be helping them tax plan, but I'm turning it over to them. I'm removing myself from the company for a year.
See, I
That's
thought
awesome.
that makes more sense because I was like, he really choosing that date because it's my dad's birthday? That would be weird because you don't know him.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm going to meet him.
I do want to know before we start to wrap up, and perhaps this is a prelude to another episode at some point. There's some folks that we want to line up for a round two for the podcast. But what is the Cliff Notes version, or maybe the agenda of your Monday morning meeting? And I don't want to take the wind out of your sail because I know you're passionate about speaking to it, but maybe just like a little commercial for a future episode.
So one of my goals early on was, how do you change people's mindset of the negativity that is in the world right now? And maybe it's always been this way, because when I read the Bible stories, it sounds like they were pretty negative back then too. And by the way, they were pretty mean. But I thought, how do I change this mindset? Well, I got really fortunate that we landed a big job, and we had to have a toolbox talk. And at that time, there was about 8 or 9 of us. So every Monday morning, we would have a weekly toolbox talk, and people would kind of come in whenever when we were doing it. Well, one morning, a new guy started, and I put my hand out to shake his hand, and he gave me the short grip thing, the little
The dead fish short grip is the worst.
Yep.
Oh, and I was like, don't ever do that again. That's gross. I said, put your dang hand out, be intentional, hit it right here. And then when we shake hands, go up. If I have a name tag, that's when you read my name tag, because the name tag goes right here. And then look me in the eyes and say, hello, Matt. It's nice to meet you. I go, actually, no. Before you say that, back up. Because you're a smoker and I can smell you, and you don't want your first impression to be that you smell like a damn cigarette. So this is me at a Monday morning meeting, right?
Hence why you don't call you guys a family, because you wouldn't necessarily say that to family. You would just be like,
never.
Oh, such a weak handshake,
Yeah,
and walk away.
yeah. So what happened is I backed up, and we went through our safety meeting, and it's one of the guys walked up and they're like, no one's ever showed me how to shake a hand, man. I was like, you don't know how to Okay. I apologize. Let's back up. Next week, we're going to do this again. Well, all of a sudden, I started doing other life skills. Like, I started teaching the courtesy of when you're walking with your wife or your girlfriend,
Outside.
and you're walking on the sidewalk. You should walk on the back and the side until you're walking against traffic. Then you should walk actually one step ahead of them to save them. Like, these are the things that I thought everybody knew, and none of them know it. So I started doing life skills. Well, then I started implementing leadership skills. All of a sudden, now the guys were like hungry for this motivational talk, and I started getting excited because it forced me to educate myself to have a topic. That I wanted to have a good topic, because I don't like to suck. I like to be good at what I do.
Educate yourself, but also reflect on what you already know that you assumed was second nature, but you can now acknowledge as a valuable skill set, and show appreciation to not only yourself for knowing that, but whoever ended up teaching you that previously.
Right.
Well, it
Because
goes back
what's
to
the
Vince
number?
Lombardi. You teach basic blocking and tackling, right? The things
Yeah.
you think that professionals should just know, they don't necessarily know.
They don't know. It's the John Wooden. Today we're going to put on our socks,
Tie our shoes. Yep.
tie our shoes. But also, it's John Wooden was very, very bold when one of his best players said, hey, I'm not going to shave because I'm protesting the war. And he said, you know what? I respect you. I think that's great. We're going to miss you on this team. I love that attitude. So I started doing this on Mondays. Well, next thing I know, it just became our routine, and it started getting better. And then I said, you know what? We're going to meet in a circle, because the knights of the round table meet in a circle before they go to battle. And every week we're going to battle, and we get to start Monday together. We're going to kick ass this week. And all of a sudden I started seeing them they're like, yeah, we are. And I started looking around. I'm like,
They all went and got their pitchforks.
these guys are ready to roll. These guys want to fight. And then all of a sudden they started asking me deeper questions about leadership and about how to educate myself and what books are you reading and what's going. Next thing I know, it went 15, 30, 40, 60. And we had to move to different locations. At one time, we didn't even have a spot. We had to meet outside until it got cold. And we had to go to another building off campus because I wanted to maintain the circle. And then I started having guys show up late. And I would literally look at my watch and I would go, you're fucking kidding me. Next thing you knew, the guys didn't want to be late anymore because they knew they disappointed me. And then it started dawning on me going, I'm building a level of trust with them because They want to be here with me. Then I started the meeting 3 to 4 minutes early to show them, listen, if you're there at 7, you're late, bro. I don't give a shit what time you show up Tuesday through Saturday. That's all you on your team. But don't disrespect me. This is my meeting. So all this, and then I go around and I fist pump every single person. I look every single person in the eyes. Now, I do have a secret power. And this is no bullshit. Growing up in the environment that I grew up in as a kid, I learned to read body language very, very, very well. I can read body language from across the room. And I'm not kidding you. I actually thought that maybe that everybody could do it. And then my therapist told me, no, you're special in that way. You had to learn how to read the room for safety. So with that being said, I go around and I look at everybody, and I've even had guys that are hungover, and I'll just call them to the side after me, and I'll say, "Hey, man, dude, you can't drive a company vehicle today. You got to go home, man. Sleep it off. Come back tomorrow. Let's try it again. Don't let this happen again." And a little bit of them were like, "Oh crap, I got to. This is a real deal." And I told a lot of people, listen, not everybody wants to win as bad as I do. Not everybody hates losing as bad as I do. And that's okay. Go be on a different team then. I don't mind. I'm not going to be mad. Go. What I'm going to be mad about is if you think you can fit in on this team and you're going to be lazy and you're going to suck and you're going to be late on Mondays and you're going to come in hungover and put somebody else's life in jeopardy, screw you. Get out of here.
Put yourself before the team.
I told a guy one time at a Monday morning meeting, I said, you don't want to be here. There's the door. You're done. In front of everybody. And then all of a sudden a few of my emotional people come up and they're like, oh man, you can't embarrass him like that.
You strike
Bullshit.
you strike me as someone who
Super nice guy. See my title?
Well, you can either be someone's best friend, and what I was struggling with is I was going to say worst enemy, but it's not so much a worst enemy because I picture you as someone who will give someone a chance, and if they mess up again, it's not that you're their worst enemy, it's that you're quick to write someone off because it's like, hey, you didn't learn. Whereas if they show up, if they do the deal, if they're doing everything they can to improve, you're probably the super nice guy that will pour into them as much as they need and want. They just can't fuck it up.
Right. So, so
That's the exact take I have. Like, you could take it one of two ways, me ripping your ass, right? It's like, you can say, poor me, he's an asshole. Or you can say, okay, I'll be better and show up better.
well, let me add this. I only coach the ones that I really like and care about. If I don't say a word to you, I don't give a shit. If I'm on you and I'm pushing you, I tell people all the time, you think you want to be in my circle? You better be ready. And by the way, that's part of the reason why I have such a close team. I'm telling you, we wake up in the morning, we piss excellence.
Got to.
I'm not kidding you. It's a different mentality. Hey, and guys, I would love it. If either one of you have anybody somewhere, a service company, more than likely, it works best with service companies. If they ever want me to come and do a Monday morning meeting, even if it's on a Wednesday or whatever, for their company on behalf to teach them this skill set, I'll fly anywhere in the United States on my dime to do it. Because my ROI is helping people. And if I can help somebody across this nation, it will come back to me. I believe it.
I
So
love
if you
that.
ever
I
hear
think
anybody out there they're struggling with culture and they're like, I can't get my people to get on the same page and they want to learn how to implement a Monday morning meeting. And by the way, it cost me 188,000 real dollars last year. 153 people spend an hour every Monday with me in one meeting. And everybody said, oh, it's easy to do when you have 15 people. Oh, it's easy to do when you have 50 people. It's easy to do when you have 100 people. Try doing it when you have 150. Well, I have 150, and I'll do it when we have 300. I'll do it forever. We're over 400 in a row. In a row.
That's awesome.
I think that's
You guys think
extremely
I'm
generous. And I can already tell you're a believer in this, that what you reap what you sow, as you said earlier. So you you make that offer without expecting anything in return, fully knowing that at some point, in some way, whatever you spend in time and dollars on that trip will be given back to you tenfold. But it's the sincerity and the genuineness and the fact that you don't have an expectation of anything in return that gives you the opportunity to ultimately receive everything you ever wanted.
Landon, you're in Omaha. I'm not kidding you. You ought to come down to one of my Monday morning meetings. You
Love
would
to.
groove
I'll
on
do
it,
it.
man.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
it's
there.
powerful. I wake up at 4 a.m. and my alarm, and not to my alarm. My alarm is set for like 4:08. I love having using the odd times. By the way, if you're ever going to set a meeting, you want to make sure everybody's on time. Set a meeting at
4:10 or
1
4:11.
1:37 on Wednesday. Everybody will remember, and everybody will know you're intentional about that time you picked, and they will not be late.
I love it.
Little
Very
trick I learned.
true.
Well, Matt, I
Oh, you're
think
gonna have to
we
cut. You're gonna have to cut this entire thing into half. You're gonna have to have Matt Warner, and then you're gonna have to have super nice guy. And you're this is two two
we're
episodes.
gonna clip this up. Don't you worry. But I do think we'd love to have you back at some point. This is and frankly, this is one of the easiest podcasts we've ever done. I think we asked a
Yeah,
total of 4 questions.
we're on
So
autopilot.
we did not
All
have to
right,
string along the conversation or anything like that. So I thoroughly and sincerely enjoyed our time today. If
guys.
folks
This is my passion, and my passion is what you're doing, and that's trying to help other people. And if they can get one nugget from that, that's going to come back to us three. I
And
promise you.
there's plenty of people, as I'm sure you could say this too, that and this will happen for someone listening to this episode, but there's plenty of people that have had an immense impact on my life that don't know and will likely never know because it was a podcast or a book or something like that. But
I love it.
What's
Matt,
cool is, I mean,
if
we've had a number of people like within our podcast community that we've had on. When David comes to town, generally we try and get at least the local guys and gals together that their lives have changed because they've interacted with other guests and they're doing business together. They've formed
it's
friendships and
sick.
like it's so like David and I are the same way. Like I I do this because this is what fills my cup, right? Is like hearing guys' stories that are genuine and being able, if somebody can take one thing away or if somebody hears us talking and calls me about, hey, I've got one question, and I can help them and it changes their trajectory. That's where the
Yeah,
rubber meets the road for me.
I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and take over the show, and we're gonna wrap this thing up. I'd like to thank my guests, David and Landon, for joining me today.
You
Uh,
nailed it.
And
just
where can folks find you, connect with you, if they want to tag along for
you know
your
what I'd love
journey?
to do is I would love to push people through you guys. If you want to know something that we talked about and there's something I can help with, push it through them. Otherwise, if you ever want to, if anybody that's listening ever wants to come to Waverly, Nebraska, and come to a Monday morning meeting, I don't get paid to do it, and more than likely, what I'll do is I'll buy you a dinner. Oh, I bring people in on Sundays. I buy them dinner. I talk a little bit about the meeting and make sure they understand the expectations, so they don't disrupt the meeting. And then afterwards, I give them 2 hours of my time, and I'm willing to talk business and shop with anybody on a Monday morning, and then I go to work the rest of the day. But I will tell you. We have lots of businesses. If you need a fence, if you need something powder coated, if you need software, if you need, we have all that. So it'd be too much to put on there. But I just appreciate that you guys are trying to pour into others, and that's what I want to do. I just want to pour into others. So let's just funnel everybody right through you guys, and let's do this again. Let's pick
We
a
will.
topic and try. And good luck trying to keep me on it.
It would be a task.
With that said, you can email us at either David or Landon at businesswiththeboys.com. Boys is with a Z at the end, not an S. So David or Landon at Business with the Boys. We appreciate all your time and attention. It's very humbling seeing the show stats and realizing that people are coming here and listening to us knuckleheads, which they're probably not here to listen to us, Landon. They're here to listen to the badass folks that we have on. So appreciate your time and attention. As always, Aaron Newell, if you're tuning into this, thank you again for the introduction to Matt. And Matt Warner, super nice guy. Appreciate your time today.
Thanks, Matt.
Whoa. Who knew I would make it this far? They hated, they never believe me. Yeah, I would never drop the ball. I know I make it look easy. Yeah, Mayweather with the defense. I don't care what a critic got to say. I got them picking up the pieces. That to me, you really playing with your life. I'm about to